Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining today. I'm Ashley Lumsden, and I am the Educational Program Manager here at FieldPulse. I would like to welcome you to Ask a Pro, our webinar series with industry experts who will be sharing their expertise and experience on topics that can improve your business operations. We will be answering questions that were submitted by you guys. Don't worry if you didn't have a chance to submit a question before the webinar started. You will be able to use the Q&A function within Zoom to ask questions to us that way. Today's guest is Mo Daouk from NiceJob. Today, Mo will be sharing his expertise on winning more business from your online reputation. Welcome, Mo.
Thanks, Ashley. Thanks for having us on.
Of course. All right, let's get started. First question here. We have, why is online reputation essential for service businesses today?
It's a great starting point. I think in today's age, like trust is, and it's always been the case, right? Trust is currency. So, I mean, and now even more with the digital world that we live in, trust plays a massive role when it comes to consumer decision making, especially when it comes to potential customers searching for services. They often turn to online reviews as their first source of that credibility, right? Of that trust. And people trust online reviews just as much as recommendations. In fact, studies show that like 92% of consumers would read online reviews before they make a purchase decision, whether it's a consumer product or even a service. The other thing is Google, prioritizes businesses with good reviews. That's just the truth of it, right? And the search engine itself will value businesses that have high ratings on in terms of their reviews, and that's as well as that have recent reviews and consistent reviews. So it's having a strong online reputation now has become more and more important for businesses. And because it can really help increase that visibility of your business online in search results, which if people can find you, then that means you're going to book more services and you're going to get more leads and you're going to get more jobs done. The other thing is, reviews in general, they drive more sales and conversions. And we know that. So like studies show that businesses with more positive reviews, like I said, can charge higher prices. So that's
Yep.
another thing that people don't really look at, right? And they can actually get booked more often as well, more than their competitors. Um, and having a strong online reputation, it is a competitive edge, like whether we like it or not, right? If let's say a potential customer is deciding between business A and business B, and business A has 200 plus five-star reviews, and business B has maybe 10 that are like older from a few years ago, they're more likely to choose the one that has a higher rating with more recent reviews. So, it's becoming an essential part, especially in service-based businesses today. So, yeah,
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. Before I got some painting done at a house that I was doing work on, I immediately went to Google and was looking at reviews. So
for sure,
yeah, I couldn't agree more.
for
Going
sure.
into our next question here, what are some of the most common mistakes that you see businesses make when managing their online reputation?
Yeah, there's quite a few to be honest with you, but I think the first one really is not asking for reviews, right? Like not having any sort of proactive approach to asking for reviews. So if you're only getting reviews from customers that decide to leave you one on their own, I guarantee you're missing out on hundreds of potential five-star ratings.
Yep.
And really the best time to ask for any sort of review is at the right time, right? And like right when you kind of finish that service and you create that good customer experience, that's when a customer is most satisfied. Like if someone came to your house and painted your house and they did a fantastic job and they thanked you and you were just over the top impressed with them, you're more likely to leave a review if they ask you that day or like the day after versus if they come to you like 3 4 weeks ago and you've moved on, right? You're like, who is this person?
Right.
So that's one thing is not asking for reviews in general is a big mistake. The other one that's pretty major is ignoring negative reviews. People always get worried when it comes to negative reviews. Shoot, I got a negative review. What am I going to do? I hate Google. I don't know how to answer it. But in fact, a thing that most people don't realize is that being silent is actually the worst thing you can do. It can actually damage your business a lot more than actually speaking up and saying something. So, potential customers will assume that if a business doesn't respond, like they find this painting company, for example, that you happen to use, and let's say in this situation that you gave a negative review and no one responded, and now I find that same painting company, I'm going to assume that that business doesn't care about customer feedback and they don't care about their reputation. So it's
Right.
less likely that I'm going to book a service with them.
Right.
Um, Another one is really responding poorly, like coming across as like very defensive or, very dismissive is another thing that you want to consider, right? Because people then can look at it and it can and say and we've seen instances where it can become like a full-blown PR nightmare and people just the media picks up on it and they go, this company's bashing their customers online. Like you never want to do that, right?
Yeah.
Um, the other one I would probably say is focusing only on Google, right? Like I think, obviously Google is a big factor, but platforms like Facebook, platforms like Yelp are still a thing, right? And having a good reputation on those platforms also can help you get more business and more leads because um, people search there as well. So it's not just Google. And
Right.
then I think the last one is when you do get a lot of good reviews and you have a good reputation and they're consistent and they're fantastic, just not leveraging them, right? Like not using them as marketing material because, that information is it should be out there. You should be sharing it on your website. You should be sharing it on social media, using it in your ads. So there's a lot of ways that you can do that. So I would say those are some of the most common ones that we've seen at least or we've come across.
Yeah. Thank you for that. How can businesses proactively generate more positive reviews from happy customers?
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of like positive reviews, I think it comes down to again, like what I was saying before, is the right timing, right? The best moment to ask for a review is right after the job is completed. So as soon as the job is done, ask for that review, um, because that's when the customer is most excited about it, right? And they want to talk about it and they want to brag about it. It's the same thing, like when you get something done at your house or you purchase something, you rush and you tell your friends about it right away, right? You're not telling them months and months later. Automating the process is another important thing, right? Using like reputation marketing platforms like Nice Job, businesses can send, can automate that whole process, right, for follow-ups,
Right.
and they can do that for you on your behalf, whether it's through text messages or email. It just makes it easier for them to collect those reviews and to get those reviews. The other thing is if you're not gonna use the platform, just make it easy for customers to actually leave your review, right? Like the fewer steps that a customer needs to take to leave your review, the better. So maybe having like a direct link somewhere that they can click on and they can get, reviews from Google or Facebook just helps eliminate any like unnecessary friction. Um, Training your staff. This is probably a very, very crucial thing is training your staff about reviews and the importance of reviews. And I've talked to a lot of different entrepreneurs and business owners that have actually implemented it as part of their training with their team, where they actually set the expectation ahead of time when they go into a service or a job. You know, their employees that are in the field, they'll come up and say, we hope to do a 5-star job today. You know what I mean? We hope to earn a 5-star review from you today. And setting that expectation up front makes a huge difference. But also making sure that they're asking for it as well and they're priming the customer. That way it doesn't come as a shock at the end of the job. If you're talking to them ahead of time, it at least can prime that expectation that there's going to be a request for review at the end.
Right.
Um, We've even seen incentives like I think one like some of the best jobs out some of the best companies I've seen is they actually incentivize their employees as well. So like they'll give them some sort of a bonus or recognition. Hey, if your name gets mentioned in the review, I'll give you a bonus, or the employee that has the most number of reviews can kind of get some sort of reward, or get recognized internally. So I think those are a lot of good ways that you can get more reviews from happy customers, but also getting your team involved in that process as well.
Yeah. And I think the buy-in from team members is super important too. They need to be excited about the work, get excited about getting reviews and getting that feedback.
Yes,
So I couldn't
yes,
agree more.
100%.
We did have a
100%.
live question come through. They want to
Yeah.
know, how does AI and machine learning impact online reputation management today? And where do you see that
Yeah.
going within the next 5 years or so?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Some of the things that we've been seeing now is there's a lot of rules being put in place with a lot of because you'll see a lot of companies out there that will use AI to just generate fake reviews. And Google has figured out, and like there's been a lot of ways that these platforms have figured out how to remove those And actually, in certain areas, you can get fined for that by the government. So that's one of the things. The other thing that we actually just like launched this new platform like that allows you to do AI replies. So replying to messages on your behalf, or at least scheduling or showing you different options for you to reply to automate that process. Because if you're a business that's getting a lot of reviews, it's one thing to automate the review process, but it's another thing to now have to go in to reply to all these reviews. So it's
Right.
it's 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 a good thing to have, or you know what I mean. But yeah, I think AI is going to help with managing some of that stuff, right? But I think at the end of the day, a consumer is a consumer, so they want to see reviews from real people. They're not going to want to trust like machines that are doing the reviews.
Right.
I think it's just going to make the process of collecting and replying to those reviews a lot easier.
And I think that's what, when I work with a lot of the customers, they always ask me, like, is AI going to sound human enough? Is it going to sound like me? Is
Mm,
there a way, like, when using NiceJob to kind of personalize the messages a little bit to help with that
yes,
kind of stuff? Okay.
absolutely. That's one of the things that we always recommend is that it's one thing for us to kind of generate an AI reply, and then but for you to kind of review it before you actually send it is a very important factor. And then also leaving personal touches in there that can actually, a customer can relate to as well.
Perfect. We got another live question that came through. They said in industries where competitors use fake negative reviews, what are the most effective legal and ethical strategies to fight back? Do you have any insight on that?
I don't have insight on how to fight back. I know, but I do know like there's been a lot of like new regulations that have arisen because of it. Because I know there's a lot of businesses that have been using that to say, hey, like I have so many reviews, and but when you actually look into them, a lot of them are fake reviews. They're not actual real people that did
Right.
that service. And a lot of smaller businesses will do that to kind of fast track to say, look, I have 500 reviews already, even though maybe 10 of them are actually real.
Right.
Um, I'm not sure how to fight back. I think I would check with your local government to see what options there are to report some of those businesses.
Right. No, that's the first I'm hearing of that. So I'm glad you like shed insight on that. It sounds like some of our
Yeah,
viewers are interested in that as well. So yeah, thank you for that. Moving
absolutely.
forward, what is the best approach for businesses to handle negative reviews while protecting their reputation?
That's a good one. That's one, to be honest with you, that we hear a lot from our customers on, and a lot of people struggle with, right? It's when it comes to like handling negative reviews, the first thing is like there's like sort of best practices you can say, right? So we always say like you get a negative review, obviously respond. Do not
Right.
avoid the review. Do not go silent. Number one rule is respond. The first thing though is when you're in your response, you want to first and foremost apologize and acknowledge what happened, right? Like own up to it, even if the customer is being unreasonable. And a lot of times, people will come up to us and say, "Hey, like, what if the customer is being absolutely unreasonable?" It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, you're still showing empathy, and then in front of other customers, it shows that you actually care. So acknowledging the customer and apologizing is probably the first and foremost, like first important thing. The second thing is providing a solution, right? So offer to resolve the issue in some way, shape, or form, right? Either it's public or it's private. So in a lot of scenarios, what we do is we tend to tell people take it offline if you need to take it offline, but provide a solution in the negative review. So um, if you take it offline, I think it's probably better. We usually suggest to take it offline if you can, especially if there's a lot of back and forth and back and forth. You don't want to create this like long thread of like, I said this and they said this and then they said this and I said that.
For sure.
So definitely take it offline. Don't get defensive. Like, do not get defensive. Like arguing with customers publicly, it's just not a good look. It's not a good
Yeah.
look at all. And then at the same time, like you get a negative review, don't make it seem like it's the end of the world. If you've responded and you've done everything that you can do, just, keep collecting more reviews. Like it's a handful of bad reviews. They're not gonna, make or break your company, right? Um, and if you have more good than bad and the good outweigh the bad, then you should be fine. So like I would say like, let's say we can even take it a step further and actually like do an example. So let's say we'll use your painting company as an example, right? Let's say the you know, you are the customer, and it's we'll call it Moe's Painting Company, for example, right? And you went on and you said, hey, this company broke something or whatever it is, and so on and so forth, and that's a negative review and it's a 1 star rating. So if I was responding, I would go on and say, okay, hi Ashley, like we're sorry to hear that this happened, so and so. We hope you accept our sincerest apology. So, so there you've kind of acknowledged it that it happened, and you've apologized, and then hey, we've been known to have great customer service and support, and this surprises us that this sort of happened, and we'd like to make it right. So now you've kind of acknowledged the fact that you're going to do something about it, and then you can say something like, we'll be reaching out to you soon. So you should probably get an email or a call from whoever it is. Maybe it's, let's say I have somebody, I'm going to make up a name here. You're going to be getting a call from Janice to discuss what's going on so that we can determine what's the best solution in place. And then maybe even give them the option, say, if you prefer to contact us directly, here's the number. We value our customers' opinions and their feedback, and then kind of close it off by saying, yours truly, and it's Mo from Mo's Painting Company, right? And I'm the CEO, for example, or the owner. Because when you personalize it and you make it human, then it really kind of like
It
tones
goes a
down, and
long way. Yeah.
it goes a long way, and it shows that, hey, like I am, like, for example, if I was the owner, I'm the owner, and I actually care about my business and my reputation. Here's my information. Here's who responded to you as well, so that
Right.
this wasn't an AI response.
Yeah, no, I love the structure of that. And thank you for providing an example. I think that puts it into perspective for me and the live viewers here. We're actually getting
Yeah.
a lot of questions from the live viewers. So I'm just going to keep things rolling here. They said, how can businesses recover from a PR crisis caused by false or misleading online reviews? Do you have any suggestions there?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially if it's like if you've received a lot of negative reviews, and I think there's ways that I've heard scenarios where there's Google will step in, especially if it's now like these are no longer customers, these are just people trying to bash your company because something happened that went viral. So I know Google will step in some instances and help. But I also think it's important to just acknowledge a lot of those negative reviews and keep collecting positive reviews, keep doing a good job, right? And keep providing your customers with a level of service, and then requesting more reviews. It might take a while to bury those negative reviews, but at the same time, as long as you've done your job and you've acknowledged and you've done the best that you possibly can and you've responded, then you gotta kind of keep chugging forward.
Yeah. And again, it shows that you're human. We make mistakes, we have
Yeah.
issues. And I think honing back to your point of as long as you're addressing it, that's all that really matters. Addressing it in a
You,
professional manner.
And you know what's interesting too is like studies have now shown us that like businesses will actually trust companies that don't have like a 5 star rating. So if your
Yeah,
if your rating is like a 4.8 or a 4.9 or a 4.7, it's not like you're gonna like, don't worry about those point two or three or whatever it is, right? So like, it's business will actually consumers will actually trust businesses that have a 4.8 star rating over a 5 star rating, because then it's like it still shows like you're human. You've made a mistake
right.
along the way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long after a negative review is posted would it be considered ineffective to respond at that point?
Oh, so how long until I think I'm a firm believer it's that it doesn't matter if it's gone like a week, or like I would still respond like at some point in time, because you got to remember too, like what's going to happen is if I'm a future customer that's looking to use the painting service as the example that we're using, and
Right.
I go on and I see all these reviews and I see no one's ever responded to these people, I'm gonna assume one of two things. One, the company might not still be in business, or number two, they just don't care and they just, I don't want to do work with them. So
Right.
never leave a review. And by the way, like this goes even for like positive reviews, like responding to positive reviews and saying, "Hey, thank you for your feedback. We appreciate it." It goes a long way as well.
Agreed. Even just a simple
Yeah.
thank you, like something.
100%. 100%. The other thing I want to mention, I know we kind of worked like FieldPulse and NiceJob. We worked on like a how to respond to negative reviews. Like there's a guide on the landing page for this webinar. So for the
Yeah.
people that are listening, like check out that guide. It'll kind of give you a breakdown of how to respond to negative reviews.
Yeah. Good plug there for sure. Another question live from one of our participants here. They said, what's the most effective way to turn negative reviews into customer loyalty opportunities?
Mm, that's a good question. I mean, I think, it really depends on what you mean by like customer loyalty opportunities. But if you look at it from the sense of like repeat business is a key in the
Hmm.
service-based industry, right? So like
Right.
how can I get some customers to come back to us as well? And it comes down to having a good reputation, getting a good experience, giving the customer a good experience, and then being able to leverage that customer for two things, for repeat business and for referrals, right? People like to refer businesses that, they've done a good job with. Like I always like there was an example that I had a couple years ago when I was getting my basement painted and I called three friends and they all gave me the same exact business and I was just like, okay, this is the business I'm going with, right? So
Right.
people trust referrals in the same way. So it's like if I someone does a good job and I can refer them, that's a very, very important aspect of it. So when it comes to loyalty, I would look at it from the sense of if as long as you're doing a good job and you're getting the good reviews, there's ways to actually go out to those customers and say, hey, like I'd like to repeat that business. For example, let's say it's a you might not paint your house every year, but like let's say it's a window washing company or a power washing company or a gutter cleaning company. Um, there's certain service businesses that, when you talk about a loyal customer, it's finding ways to kind of go out to those customers that they can become more of a lifetime customers in terms of a one time.
Yeah. And I think anytime like a customer gets a negative review, they might kind of steer clear from that customer. But I think if you
Yeah,
respond to the review in a positive way, you have
absolutely.
opportunity to make that customer a repeat customer again. I don't think you should
100%.
dwell on that. I think you can show them like through human response that you do care and
Yes,
you're ready for more with them. So yeah, just
100%.
going back
No.
to being human for sure.
Yeah, because you never know. I mean, like you could have like a situation where, maybe somebody broke something on the job and it turned into a negative review and it ended up costing you money, but it might be costing you money at that point in time. And it might be, you have to respond and deal with this and it seems like a burden, but that might open up opportunities in the future because then people can see that, hey, I fixed your whatever it is that I broke and, I turned that negative review into a positive review and things kept moving forward, right?
Yeah. Can you share a success story of a mutual customer who improved their reputation and saw real business growth with NiceJob?
Yeah, yes, actually. So mutual, like, yeah, so between FieldPulse and NiceJob, there's this one good example. There's this company called Lamorinda Technology, and they're basically like a company that specializes in like home and small business IT support. So they help customers with everything from like, setting up your computer and networking, like virus removal, all that fun stuff. Essentially keeping your tech running smoothly. They started with us in March of 2024, and they've seen just massive growth. It's like I believe when they first started with us, they only had 5 reviews, and now they have well over like 210 reviews.
Oh,
So
wow.
massive, massive increase in just a year, and actually just under a year. Yeah, it's pretty much
Yeah, we're right at that mark.
yeah, we're right at the mark there. But still, and so like they've had about a 36% conversion rate on reviews. So every time they ask for a review, they get 36% of customers are giving them a review. And on top of that, they've been able to get 5 new referrals, like a 38.5% referral rate as well. So, think about it from a tech support business, like trust is everything, right? So it's like,
Right.
especially if I'm going to trust you with my computer and my technology, it's
Right.
like
All the
I
data
want to
within
make
all
sure,
that.
yeah, a
Yeah.
hundred percent, 100%. So like having that strong online reputation, again, it goes back to like, more reviews on Google, you know what I mean? Higher visibility on Google or other platforms equals more leads and more business, right?
Right. Right. Awesome. I love that story. We did get
Mhm.
another live question that came through. They want to know, how do we identify obstacles affecting customer reviews, and can you give us any solutions for those?
Yeah. So in terms of actually that's a good question. So I think there's a couple things like there's a thing called sentiment, right? So if you're getting a lot of negative reviews, there's ways to look at like what is the sentiment behind these reviews? Is it a person within the organization? Is it a certain aspect of the service that you're offering, right? So looking into the actual reviews that you're getting, especially if they're repetitive, you can understand like, what is actually causing it. I would also call your customers, right? Like talk to those customers that are leaving a negative review. Don't just respond to them
Right.
online and disappear and be like, hey, sorry to hear that or whatever it is and dealing with it. But call them and talk to them and say, how can we make things better? How can we improve? because a customer is going to tell you when you go up to them and you actually tell them, when you approach them, they're going to tell you straight up like what's going on. So I think identifying those obstacles, it can be one of many things, right? It's but reading those reviews, looking into them, contacting your customers can definitely help. um, there isn't really a perfect solution, I would say, right? I mean, there isn't like really a perfect way of looking at it, but I know with our platform, NiceJob, like we have sentiment. So when you're getting tons and tons of reviews, it'll kind of give you like certain keywords or certain things or even certain employees that are out that are performing a certain way, whether it's positive or negative. So you can kind of get a sense of like what's happening within your business.
No, I like that. And I like the suggestion too of like calling them because I feel like it comes across much more personable and you can
Yes,
kind of get the connotation and feel of that message a little bit differently than always going over email and things like that. So I love that
100%,
suggestion.
100%.
Next question I have for you. How can businesses use social proof to win new customers? And what's the best way to showcase top reviews?
That's a good question. I mean, I think social proof, like, so let's talk about what is social proof, right? Like, and at its core, social proof is basically this concept that humans will copy the behavior of other humans, really, right? It's just human nature, I guess you can say. So, if you're walking down a path in the road, Ashley, and then you get to a point where it's like, do I go left or do I go right? And Mo went right and he had a great time and it was fine and he was safe and everything was fine. You're most likely going to go right. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
you're going to
Yep.
go down that point. It's just human nature, right? So reviews, they show like potential customers that others took the chance on that business and, they purchased that service from the company and they had a good experience. So the risk
Right.
sort of paid off. When it comes to social proof and like how can you use it, there's different ways you can actually do it, right? And there's first and foremost is website integration. So being able to actually display the good reviews that you get on your site, on your homepage, on your service pages goes a long way because it shows that you're actually using that stuff and it's not just living on Google. Because a lot of times people will Google something and then they'll go straight to your website. So they might skip the whole review process, but when they come to your website and they see that you have great reviews, they're going to continue and learn more about you. Google Star is ratings and ads. That's another one, right? So businesses that use review based ads like paid search or paid ads on through Google, they see higher click through rates, right? So consider using those as a method. Social media is huge, right? Social media is the new platform. It's everywhere.
For
So
sure. Yeah.
if you have a social platform for your business, sharing those stories, sharing those customer testimonials, whether it's texts, like what I mean, on a screen, or an image of a job that was done, or even videos, like videos of customers saying, "Hey, Ashley's painting company was fantastic," and so on and so forth. That's going to increase engagement. That's going to increase more visibility. I spoke about this on with somebody else recently. Was last summer when I was getting a contractor to pour concrete in my backyard. It came down between two that had really good reputation, really good websites, but one had a social media presence and was showing like the work that they've done, and they were showing like recent jobs with testimonials, and I ended up going with that one, right? So social plays a big aspect of it. And then
Right.
last but not least, physical materials, right? So like whether you're doing flyers or business cards, or even your invoices that you're sending out, putting those reviews on there goes a long way. I've even seen I've seen people put it on their trucks, but I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that because it's like if you're at a 4.9 rating and now you're at a 4.8, how do you update? You know what I
Right.
mean?
That's a
So
lot to
I've seen,
update that.
yeah, I've seen that before as well. But yeah, no, I think, yeah, social proof is again just showing people that hey, people have trusted this business and leveraging those reviews as marketing is super
Right.
important.
Right. I did have a customer ask about putting like a review or a testimonial, like a blurb, something like small like that in their email
Mhm.
signature. Have you ever seen that? And what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not a bad idea to be honest with you because it's just again people
Another way to get
like
them out there.
it's credibility, right? It's we preach it internally here is that we always like our customer telling the story versus us telling a story. Like let our customers convince you, for example, with us as to why nice job. Like I don't want to market to, like what I mean. I want my customers to market to other customers because people will buy from people, right? Like
Hmm.
They want to see that someone else in their shoes, similar to them, has gone through whatever it is or has purchased whatever and has had a good experience. It's let them kind of be the voice.
I totally agree. I have another question here for you. What tools or automation strategies can help businesses simplify their reputation management?
Ooh, it's a great question. Um, I mean, like, look, I'll be honest. Like, managing online reviews, especially if you're getting a ton of reviews, it could probably feel you know, when you have like a lot of group chats and like family group chats and bad friends group
Chaotic.
chats, and then at the end
Yeah.
of the day, you're like, oh my God, I gotta catch up. So
Yeah.
I think the right tool can like help, you know, streamline that entire process, right? Um, Reputation marketing platforms like NiceJob, for example, they automatically do that for you. So they'll request reviews on your behalf, they'll track it, they'll distribute them on to, you know, across Google and Facebook, and then they can even showcase them on your website, right? So that way you're always getting, you know, fresh reviews and without having to worry about remembering to go back and ask customers or even giving your staff like, you know, hey, we need more reviews, and they already have so much things to worry about, right?
Right.
um, Even like social proof tools like we have this feature called Engage that it just displays like real-time customer reviews on your website. So when
Oh,
a customer browses, it's just like constantly popping out and saying, hey, you know, Ashley just left a five-star review, Mo just left a five-star review. And so visitors can see this like steady flow of,
right.
you know, customer feedback instead of like wondering, you know, is this company still in business? Like, are they still good? Like,
Right.
has anyone reused them recently? Um, and lastly, obviously, like CRM tools, right? CRM, business management software, anything that can kind of integrate review collection with those tools that already exist makes it easier for you to keep track of, you know, everything, whether it's like who the customer is, what they got done, when did they actually leave a review, did they become a referral, did they become a repeat visit, and so on and so forth. So yeah, that would be kind of
Awesome.
my suggestion.
Yeah, no, I love those. We have another live question that came in. They want to know what is the potential solution to carry out AI reviews and to track its status?
So that's a good point. So we, like I said, we just launched the one called AI replies. So it's like an AI reviews generator. So it'll look at all the reviews that you get that come in, and it'll generate AI replies for you that you can kind of then audit and then send off. Um, who is a potential customer when, so what was it? The question was, who is a potential customer when carrying out an AI reviews? What was the question again? Could you
Yes.
repeat it?
Yes.
Status.
One. Yeah, they want
Like,
to know how to track the status of those
oh, how to
like
track
AI
the status.
replies too. Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. Um, in terms of tracking the status, like I'm wondering if they're looking at it from the sense of like this tool is automatically replying via AI, like, or is it more so like I want to figure out how I can automate replies? At the end of the day, like there's tools that can generate like AI replies for you. Like I said, we have one available with NiceJob, but it's still you can you can either fully like let it reply on its own, but we kind of always suggest to kind of audit them and review them before you kind of send them out.
No, I like that option because then you
Yeah.
can make it sound more like you and the lingo of your business. So
Yeah. I mean, it
definitely
can
more
do a lot of the heavy
personable.
lifting, right? It can write, it can
Right.
draft it up for you, and then you can kind of come in and tweak and then just send versus you having to kind of draft every single one individually.
Right. No,
Yeah.
I love that. All right. Well, I want to know from you, where can we find Nice Job? And what is our
Yes.
integration like with you guys?
Yeah, so obviously, you know, you can go to nicejob.com to learn all about Nice Job. Check us out on social media as well. But when it comes to Nice Job and Field Pulse, like for service-based businesses, we work really, really well, right? So
Hmm.
you know, when it comes to balancing like job scheduling and invoicing and all that kind of stuff, that's where Field Pulse comes in. But with Field while Field Pulse kind of handles a lot of the day-to-day operations of like of all that stuff, Nice Job integrates directly with Field Pulse, so it can automatically send those review requests after a job is completed. There's no extra effort involved. And this sort of ensures that, you know, your business is collecting positive feedback, it's building trust without having to add another, you know, another thing to your plate. So you already have so much going on in managing your business. This will kind of automate the entire process. And then there's other tools like, referrals and getting repeat customers and AI replies that come with NiceJob as well. But the integration that we have with FieldPulse and NiceJob is great. So it automatically does all that stuff for you. As soon as you close a job in FieldPulse, NiceJob kind of takes over and does all the work for you.
Yeah, I love that. It allows our, customers to kind of focus on what they do best, and you guys automate all the reply or all the reviews and all that stuff. So I love that.
Absolutely.
I did just
Absolutely.
want to share to our viewers. Obviously, thank you, Mo, for joining and answering all these lovely questions with us today. But this recording will be posted in our help center, so you'll be able to view that. And then Mo did mention that we have a resource how to kind of structure out responses of those positive, negative reviews. That will also be in our help center as well under the link for this video. So be on the lookout for that. Check that out. And then we did, when you guys signed up for the webinar today, we had offered a $50 gift card. And I do have the winner picked out for that. The winner is Sophia Brown. So thank you so much for joining and being live with us today. I know you asked a lot of questions in here. So thank you for being very responsive. And I will reach out to you after the session to send you that gift card. So be on the lookout after the session. I will send a survey out to you to kind of get the feedback of how things were with Mo and I today. And we look forward to seeing you at the next Ask a Pro. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thanks, Mo. I
everyone.
appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having me on. And thanks for all the questions,
Of
guys. It was awesome.
course. Yeah. Can't wait to see you guys on the next one.